Welcome to our introduction to the Linux terminal. Whether you are a beginner or just looking to brush up on your skills, this video will guide you through the most important commands you will need to navigate and use the terminal effectively. But before we start, what's the terminal or what's the Linux terminal? The Linux terminal, also known as the command line interface, is a text-based interface used to interact with your computer or server. It allows you to execute commands to perform tasks, making it a powerful tool for both beginners and advanced users. Why use the terminal? Using the terminal can be faster and more efficient than using graphical user interfaces. It provides greater control over your system and it's essential for performing many administrative tasks. Now, let me introduce the tools that we are going to use in this tutorial. We are going to use Kali Linux, and I have an open terminal as you see on my screen, and we will use this terminal window to run our commands. We will explore in this video 20 commands that are very essential for using the terminal. And there are two important things before we start to mention about using the terminal. The first one, if you want to cancel a command in the terminal, you need to press on Control C. So pressing on Control C is going to cancel any command. So if you get stuck or you mistype the command, you can just press on Control C. And then the second thing is clearing the screen of the terminal, which we do with typing clear. Now we have a fresh, clean terminal. Now let's start with the first command. The first command is pwd, which stands for print working directory. If we navigate to documents and open a terminal there, so pwd print working directory is going to be different here because we are in a different directory. Now let's move to the second command, which is ls. ls stands for list directory contents, which means list files and directories within the current directory. And as you see, after typing ls, we got a list of all directories and files inside this folder or inside this directory. But ls has some more options. So if you want to know the groups or the permissions, you can use these options. For example, list with L is going to show you the permissions and the groups. And if you want to know more about this command or any other command, you can just type man ls, which is going to show you the documentation of this command. And here you see all the options that you can use with ls to have more information. And to quit the manual, you need just to press on Q. Now we are back to the terminal. Now let's move to the third command, which is cd, which means change directory, and we can with cd change to another directory or go one step back or go to the home directory, to the main directory. For example, if we want to go to downloads, we can just type downloads, and now we are inside download. And to confirm that we are inside downloads, we can also use pyd, which stands for print working directory. We can also go back using cd two dots, and now we are back to the home Kali directory, and we can also go to the main directory by using cd slash, and if we type now ls, we are now in the main file system of Kali Linux. Now let's go back to the home Kali directory, cd and home. You can see if we press on tab, it's gonna fill in or it's gonna give us some suggestions, and then we can type Kali with tab, and it's gonna give us also the word, so we don't need to type them all. So enter. Now again, we can use ls to see. Yeah, we are in the home Kali directory. These three commands are very important for navigation inside the terminal. Now let's move to the group number two, which is more about creating, deleting files and directories. And now let's start with the fourth command, which is mkdir, which is make a directory. And we can make a directory test 2, because we have, I think, a test directory. And let's list the directories. And as you see, we have test2 here. And that's all about mkdir, which means making a directory. Now let's move to number 5, which is remove a directory. So it is rmdir and then the name of the directory. For example, let's take test, suggesting the name of the directory, and just pressing enter is going to delete it. Now let's check if it's deleted. Yes, it's deleted, it's not there. But rmdir is going to remove just an empty directory, so if the directory has files, it's not going to remove it. Now let's move to number 6, which is rm, which removes files or directories. Let's try to remove this file here, this test file. So rm test. Let's do again ls to see if it's there. Yes, we removed it. Now let's move to number 7, touch, which creates an empty file. For example, let's create test.txt. And now if we list the files, we have a test.txt, a test file. Now let's move to number 8, which is cp, and cp stands for copy files or directories. So let's copy the test.txt file, and we are going to type cp text.txt to another name, which is going to be test2.txt. Sorry, I mistyped the name of the file, so I typed instead of test, text. So let's correct it. We can go back by using the top arrow. So now we got in the file the same command, and I need to correct it, test, and now it should work. So if we list again all the files, you can see we have now 2 text files, and they are identical because we copied the test.txt to test2.txt. Now let's move to the command number 9, which is mv, which helps in move or rename files or directories. So let's have a test. Let's do an ls. We have our test2.txt file. Let's move this file to the downloads. So we type mv and then test2.txt to downloads. And now let's do an ls. So the file is not there. Now let's create another one and rename it. So we type touch test.txt and then let us move it and rename it. Test, and let's rename it because I moved already the same file to music. So let's give it another name, test 1.txt. So let's see if it works. It works. And now let's go. Now let's navigate to music to see if we were able to change the name of the file. Now cd music. Now let's use tab. Now let's do an ls. And as you see, we have test file and we have a test dash one, the one we moved and renamed. So that was all about mv. Now let's move to the nth command, which is nano or vim. And both are text editors. So if you want to master the terminal, you need to master these text editors. Let's open the test.txt with nano. And as you see, now we have it open in nano. And now we can type. As you see, I can type, and we can also navigate with the we can navigate in the file, and you can use these commands at the bottom to know how to work with nano. So if I press on Control X, I'm gonna exit the nano, and now it's asking me if I want to save the file. So I'm just gonna type in, which is no, and exit the file. Vim is also another text editor, and the idea behind both is the same. So try Vim by yourself. Now let's move to the command number 11, which is going to be cat, which stands for concatenate and display files. For example, or let's add some text to our test.txt and then try to open it with cat. So again, we're on the same command with nano. Now let's type hello world. And now let's exit with Control X, and let's save using Y. And it's asking if we want to keep the same name. I'm gonna give it enter, and now we are back. Now let's try to open the file with cat. Cat test, and again using tab is gonna help us. And as you see, hello world is printed in the command, which means it opened and displayed what's inside the file. Now let's move to the command number 12, which is grep. And grep is used to search text using patterns. And let's search our test.txt file for hello. So we need first to put the text that we want to search, for example, hello, and then the name of the file test.txt, and enter. As you see, we have the word hello highlighted in red after running the grep. So it searched the file and displayed the word. Let us search another word, something that's not in the file. For example, test. The result is nothing because there is no such a word inside the file. Now the command number 13, which is find. And as the name suggests, it is used to search for files in a directory hierarchy. For example, let's search for the test file in the home directory. Find, the name is test.txt. Let's use the root because it's refused to search in the home of this user. This is mant, and I don't have the access because I'm logged as Kali. So let's try to search inside Kali. So you see, searching in Kali because I'm logged as a Kali gave me this result, which is the result that I expected. But we can fix the other command. We can use the sudo command to search all users. So let us use sudo. It's gonna ask me for password, and I'm gonna type the password, and again it searched for it. So if you get permission denied, this means that you need to use the root access or the root user to search in all directories. Now let's move to number 14, which is chmod, or I don't think we can read it in English, so it's chmod, which means change file permission or modify file permissions. In order to use this command, you need to understand the file permission code in Kali Linux, but we are gonna try to use this command. First, let us use the list with all. Now we have the file permission. This D stands for directory. Read, write, and execute. These are the codes or the short form of the file permission on Kali Linux. And we can use the chmod to change the file permission. Let's give 755. These letters have values behind them, and you can use them to change the permission. As I said, you need to read more about the file permission on Linux. I think I'm going to do a video about it. But now let's just try to understand how to use the command. So if we do again ls all, we changed the file permission on this file. Now we have all the permissions on Kali, so it's 755. As I said, these letters has some values, so using the 755, which means read, write, and execute. So let's break it down. These are permissions are for the owner of the file. These are for the group that this file belongs to, and this is for others, everyone else. As I said, they have like some values, and we use numbers to change this value. These permissions combined are 7, these two combined are 5, and this is also a 5. I think that's all about change file permission. Now let's move to the number 15. This is gonna be ch, which means change the owner and the group of the file. Let's now change the owner and the group of the test file. So I'm gonna use change. I think it's gonna complain, so let's do change sudo change own. Now we need to give the username, so we are going to type mant, and the group is root, and then test.txt. So it worked. If we do again ls list all, you can see we changed the user of and the group of the test.txt using the sudo change owner chown, and now the file has a new owner and group. Now let's move to number 16, which is ps, which report a snapshot of current process. For example, ps, and with the aux option is gonna list all the current processes that are running on the system. And as you see, it's a long list. And if you want to get down You can just press Ctrl C instead of scrolling for a long time. Now let's move to the command number 17, which is kill. And as the name suggests, it's going to kill a process. And for killing a process, we need the PID, which is this column in the list of processes, and just type in kill, and the number of ID is going to terminate the process. I'm going to search for something that I know because I'm not aware of all these processes, so I don't want the system to crash. So I'm going to search for something that I know is not going to cause any problem. So let's kill the PS aux. This is the number of it. So 23422. Because the process ended, it's saying no such a process. But in general, if you want to kill a process, this is how you do it. You use kill and use the PID of the process, type it after kill, and that's it. If the permission is denied, then you need to use the sudo or the root access. Now let's move to the command number 18, which is top. Top is going to show you a task manager like on Windows. And as you see, it's up to date and it's running. So if you want to monitor your server, you can use top. It's going to list all the processes, all what's going on your server is going to be listed in the task manager. To get out of it or to exit the task manager, as usual, press just on Control C. Now we terminated it. Now let's move to the command number 19, which is df. Typing df is going to report file system disk space usage. So let's give you information about the disk usage. And typing it, as you see, it listed all the space on the system. So we have udiv, used 0, and available this amount. If you're interested, you can go over them and see what all of these files or drivers. Last but not least is the command number 20, which is going to be do. And it's used to estimate file space usage. It can be used to display the amount of disk space used by directories and files. For example, let's try with the test.txt. It says 4, which is kind of not readable format. So to make it a readable format, we need to add another option, which is -h. And let's try it again. Now, as you see, it's now a bit better. So now we have 4 kilobytes. This is the size of the test.txt. That was all about basic terminal commands. I hope you enjoyed it. We saw how to navigate, create files, and edit them in the terminal without using any other app. And if you have any question, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.